What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 149, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and on today's episode, we're talking about Sea of Stars, Lenovo releasing a new PC handheld, Xbox's recommitment to Japan, Focus had a showcase, and so much more. But before we get to that, I got to introduce my two special co-hosts for this episode. Sam is on vacation. I know last episode I was like, he's going to do it from the beach. I was like, nah, enjoy your vacation. I called in the big guns, got some reinforcements. The host of the Xbox Expansion Pass returning, Luke Lohr. How you doing, buddy?
I am fantastic. So appreciative of the invitation. So excited to rock with you guys. I love the show. I frequent it on Thursday evenings, but we're not recording on Thursday, but that's a little. But yeah, one of my faves. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just listened to your most recent episode this morning as I was on the elliptical, as I do most weekdays. We're also joined by your co-host, Captain Logan. How you doing?
Ahoy, matey! How you guys doing? It's good to address the fact that this isn't recorded on Thursday because embargoes lift for Starfield. We're going to be talking about that, but people might be wondering how come we're not like gushing over all of the reviews and whatnot. That's probably why.
It's because we're all under NDA, right?
We can't.
They didn't send it to Luke Lohr, not this time.
Didn't send it to me either. Never.
I mean,
to be fair.
I got a DM from Todd Howard. You guys didn't?
Wow.
Nope.
That's so strange. I'm so sorry that bring it up this way. I should probably have mentioned that in private. Oh,
it just said stop messaging me. Leave me alone. It's like cry for help.
I will say that I DM'd Witcher boy, Superman. What's his name?
Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill. I DM'd him on Instagram and asked him if he was a pirate legend. He has yet to get back to me.
Lazy.
I don't know. Yeah.
But if he ever talks to you, I would like to just have a screenshot. I just really love Henry Cavill. I love him so much.
He is a wonderful man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even a DC guy, but cast him. He's Superman. All right, just bring him back. Okay. Anyway, this is an Xbox podcast. We're usually live every Thursday on YouTube, but we had to rearrange some stuff. There's a hurricane coming for Luke. Fingers crossed. Nothing happened. Oh, God. Logan, jealous. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on all your audio platforms of choice. While you're over there, please drop us that 5-star review. Apple, Spotify does help us in the algorithm. And we have now crossed 100 total worldwide reviews. Thank you all for dropping those reviews. It does help us. And as I mentioned, we have drawn the winner for our Starfield giveaway. If you hadn't heard on the previous episodes, I told you get your entries in, but the winner has been chosen. And it's actually Mr. Badbit from our friends over at the Trophy Room. He left us an Apple review a few months ago, and that was the winning draw. You upset about that, Luke?
Yeah. This kid, Mr. Badbit, is a fake fan. I don't like him. And his mother's a peach, and I love her.
Hey, you know what? He is going to need that money because their pricing over there is getting hiked up.
Yep.
He needs all the handouts he can get. All right. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. But all seriousness, Joseph Moran, ugly kid.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the end of my statement.
I thought he was going to say something nice for a second. I should have known. Yeah, got me good. Well, congrats, Joe. Enjoy Starfield and whatever leftover money you can put towards PS Plus Premium going up to $600 a month. Jesus. Anyway, thank you to our patrons. It's time for our Patreon shout out. If you want to support us and get early access to Save the Game Media and exclusive bonus post shows, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Choose a tier that's right for you, like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, and Alpaca Tom. We appreciate each and every one of you. Guys, that's housekeeping out of the way. So let's jump into what we've been playing that isn't Starfield, because none of us are playing it. Luke, why don't we start with you? What have you been playing, my man?
Oh, absolutely. So I wrapped up and rolled credits on Immortals of Avium. a couple, maybe the day before yesterday or so at the time of this recording. And I've not stopped playing it, which I think is a testament to how much I found myself enjoying it. I've been going into the end game and chasing some of the higher tier gear and working on some of they have like essentially what God of War had, where they had the Fury God of War. So there's like challenge rooms. I think there's 6 of them. Is that right, Logan? There's 6. Yep. I've killed 2 of the 6 and working my way through some of the other challenge rooms and really just enjoying it for it being an above average shooter and higher tier than I was expecting it to be. I really enjoyed Immortals of Avium, and if it wasn't on the eve of September, I'd recommend everyone go out and buy it right now. But I would imagine, given the quality and the amount of quality that so many of these games are hitting with, it can be a really good wait for sale, and you'll have a blast once you get to it. So.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about it on XEP this week, and I was like, man, I really want to play this game. I just don't have time for it right now. Like, it's interested me since we saw the reveal trailer, and it's definitely one I want to play in the future, whether that's a sale or Game Pass. But part of me was like, should I just buy it now and then like try to squeeze it in? But then you guys said how long it was. I was like, there's a 0% chance.
I will say it is not the longest. Like you can get it done in probably 15 hours, but really 20 is probably, I think, a better. You don't agree, Logan?
You I think if you want to experience it, then you'd probably want to do a little bit of extra stuff and for gear wise.
I agree, and also it's beautiful. But what I will say, one of the things that I think is a big draw is that it's a single player contained story with plenty to do with your buy-in price. So you can knock out the story with some good healthy exploration plus some challenge rooms and still feel like you're getting your money's worth. And it's a single player endeavor from EA. So in that way, it's very much a unicorn. And I do think it punches above its weight. You can argue, I think, Metacritic numbers here and there, but the truth is I feel like it's a good time, and there's something to be said for it being a strictly single player game that doesn't have microtransactions or anything egregious in it like that.
I've heard some people be like, "Oh, it got bad reviews," and I'm like, "Isn't it in the 70s, like a 74 or something?" Like, that's good.
Logan and I think, disagree a little bit on what number we'd give it, but we both agreed that we really liked it and enjoyed it.
Okay.
Right, Logan? Is that right?
Oh yeah. No, I'm 100%. I see where you're coming from with like an 8 out of 10. I would still kind of rank mine in a 7 out of 10. That was kind of my gut instinct, and after completing the game, rolling credits and checking out some of the stuff afterwards, I'd have to say that it's still a solid 7. It's like the higher 7s for me. Like I don't know if I'd go like a 74 or lower, but it's definitely like a high 70s kind of game for me. It's one of those ones where one of the things I really appreciate it is how much freedom they give you with the talent system. Like you can reset your talents and you can respec at any time, but the gear's all craftable as well too. So if you want to change up and focus on like a different magic and kind of pump more points into one of the 3 other colors, you're totally free to do that. And enemies respawn in the world, so you can farm out like currencies and crafting materials if you need to do that. So I really appreciate just the sheer honesty of that. Luke, I am kind of curious now that you rolled credits, without giving any kind of hints to the ending. Did you like the ending or did you hate the ending?
Totally saw it coming. Absolutely saw it. Like point for point, I predicted every beat of this game. It was like it followed a very cookie cutter story, I thought. Like I spotted several of the tells pretty early on. Even after finishing it, though, I really enjoyed it for what it was. And I will say, as far as review scores go, I went and checked out reviews, as I often do after playing the game. Like watching the reviews after I played it. I checked numbers ahead of time just for interest and barometer. And there were one or two outlets that gave it a 5 out of 10, reputable outlets. And in listening to their review, it didn't feel like they played or finished the game beyond like the first few hours. And I was kind of disappointed in that. I think 5 is far too low. I'd see a 7 all day, but there's nothing that's mediocre about it. It's running an Unreal Engine 5. It looks beautiful. It's smooth as butter, at least on Series X and S. And to nothing about it feels mid. to Logan and I's point though about like where we would 7 or 8, maybe nothing about it is so great that it bumps it up into that territory. But everything about it is good or better, I would argue.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it hits well. Kev, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, honestly, if you get a chance to play it, because it's one of those ones where I think there's definitely a lot of DNA from other really good games, and you can tell that this is like their first stab at it. But for it being at like their first stab at it, I think they did a really good job. Like they really crafted their own thing.
Yeah, this is one, like I said, it's on the wish list, the backlog. I'm thinking if I can beat my November games, this would be a really good December pickup, where like December for me is pretty empty. I don't really have anything I'm looking forward to in that month. So I think that fit right in, and I would just have a great time around the holidays playing this. So
yeah,
it's a great call.
Yeah,
great call.
Logan, what you've been playing besides Immortals of Avium?
Dude, this is like the perfect time for me to play catch up. So I've totally been going back to like the early games from this year and trying to like work on those. So I finished up Immortals, and then I went back and finished up Hogwarts Legacy. And because I got to the point where like I put like 60 hours into that game and still didn't complete everything. Like there's so much I still need to do in that game if I wanted to go back and work on stuff. But I completed like all the relationship quests. I got the main storyline done with that. I was reminded at how good that game is. Like genuinely, the only issue I have with that game are the weird like loading things that happen when you like if you turn too fast in a room. Like you can kind of see where the wall loads in so quickly, and you can kind of see like the outside area is just a white space because they aren't rendering any of that. And it's a weird thing that bugs me, and I don't know why. That's the thing that bugs me, but it's the only criticism I have of that game. The game's actually really, really good. So still one of the best Wizarding World games. I think Avalanche and them really just absolutely killed it. I can't wait to see what they do like for future games and stuff. But did that. It's meat week, boys, in Fallout 76. So
I don't like that.
I don't even know what that means. I'm uncomfortable.
A lot of meat to be getting in Fallout. So I got back into Fallout 76. The game's 5 years old. The game has been supported since, and they have a regular cadence. They just published the next 3 months of events in game that are all set on weekends and given themes and different cosmetics and stuff that you're going to be able to get. And the community there is a community that you don't often find with games. They are helpful. Like they are intentionally helpful to new people. So if you're like a fresh person, fresh out of the vault, there will be people who are like super high level, like well beyond the level cap, and they will come to you and they will drop off goodie bags, to the point where this latest update that happened with this season actually introduced a specific like storage box that's like right outside of the main vault when you first start the game, just because the devs saw how much people were using like little suitcases that were at like the first train station that you come across. They were dumping stuff in there as just like a giveaway thing. So they were like, people are doing this anyway. Why not just give them a place right outside the vault? So it's so cool to see that. It's so cool to jump in. They literally have like little world events that happen every 20 minutes, and you spawn in. Everyone on the world shows up. Doesn't matter what the level is, because they all get something out of it. So everyone shows up, they work on it, they do it, and then they go back to whatever they're working on. It's a huge trade economy too. And I'm just, dude, like on the precipice of Starfield, I'm just surprised at how good this kind of game is right now, because I don't think anyone really gives much thought about Fallout 76, because everyone either is deep in it and quiet and they don't really talk about it that much, or everyone's just kind of written it off as that really bad Bethesda game that came out that had multiplayer. But it's legit been a really fun experience to kind of go in, learn the systems of like a traditional Bethesda game on the eve of Starfield.
You don't worry that you're gonna feel a little like, oh, I'm playing a Bethesda game now. Like you're a little burnout from playing such like from the same studio?
No, I think this is the primer that I needed to go in with a base understanding of what Starfield's going to offer, and not feel overwhelmed or incompetent when approaching it, because I really have not played too many. Like Outer Worlds was my first major dive into like a Western RPG. I've tried Skyrim, it just doesn't hook me. I've tried Fallout 4 and it was good, and I tried out Fallout 3 in New Vegas, but they just never really like got in there. So when I got into Fallout 76, I had some community members of mine kind of Sherpa me around and give me like a lowdown on what's going on. And that has set the foundation, the understanding of what I need to feel comfortable knowing like what I will probably experience going into Starfield. And if anything, I think that's kind of made me more excited because I'm like, oh, dude, I can't wait for a game that's been developed in space that will have the same kind of mechanics and understandings as Fallout games do. And now I get to actually like experience this for the first time as like a fan of Bethesda games, the way most folks are probably going to be going into Starfield after playing like Fallout 3 and 4 and Skyrim and Oblivion and stuff.
Yeah, I only like the Elder Scrolls series. Fallout does not appeal to me in the slightest. I've tried previous Fallout games. The setting, first of all, okay, whose bright idea was like when you shoot, you get like a weird little menu where you select their head and like get percented. Like that whole system, dumb, stupid system. What are you doing?
You don't need to do that though. The whole VAT system is completely like it's kind of like if you played Cyberpunk 2077, it's like going the quick hacks route. Like, yeah, you can use quick hacks against enemies and stuff, but realistically, like you can play the game with a sword and run around and cut people's heads off all day long, and that's all you can play that way and not even touch the quick hack system. But if you do, if you like that quick hack system, then you could do like in Fallout with the VAT system and kind of spec into that, get more crit based on when you're using the VAT system and stuff. So it's totally like they've built a really deep system in all of their talent trees that if you want to go down that road, you can, but you don't have to. You can still enjoy the game without it.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Starfield. Are you guys doing early access for Starfield?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah. As I ordered it from Best Buy, all likelihood, hurricane related, it's not going to get here on time because I mean they're shutting down mail I think tomorrow. So I'll probably do the digital. But the funny thing is, Kev, Starfield's not my kind of game. It's not like it is Logan's game, right? This is built for Logan. I'm excited to be a part of the ride, but I'm not reviewing it, not for XEP or anything. That's not like Immortals. I gave you like feedback on. I'll tell you my experience, but I'm not reviewing Starfield. I'm not the right person to. But I'm excited to just be an Xbox player and gamer, enjoying the ride and the wave of Xbox attention in that respect. With Redfall, there was like a brief 2-day period where we were like, oh, we're going to feel this starting to feel good. No. And then it kind of stopped. We got to experience this with E3's showcase where it was exciting to be an Xbox gamer. When Hi-Fi Rush dropped, it was exciting. It's truly AAA Game Pass day ones don't feel that way, like even if they're good. But Starfield feels special. So I'm enjoying being part of that vibe right now because it's nice to see the positive attention that Xbox is getting. And of course, I say that before reviews drop, but I think reviews were going to be a weird thing for Starfield anyway. It was predisposed to be polarizing, which is frustrating because I think in an era where TikTok and YouTube Shorts and some of these social elements didn't exist, people would have taken the time to discover a game the way they did Skyrim, and Skyrim's legacy extends far beyond its opening month. It's opening 6 months. So I'm curious if Starfield follows that same route. And for Xbox's sake, I hope that it is because they need that momentum.
Yeah, that's. I'm excited for Starfield. Like I like the Elder Scrolls, like I said, and I'm not day one on Starfield because I first of all I'll talk about it but Sea of Stars I got to hold me over until next week. But Starfield is obviously ramping up right now. It's all I see on social media, whether that's good or bad, depends on who is tweeting about it. We got people complaining you can't land on gas planets because that makes sense, or we got people talking about Imagine Dragons, which I'm not a personal fan of the band, but they made a song and it's out there. So they're going all out for this game. It does feel like an event for Xbox that we haven't had in quite some time, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, guys, are either of you interested in playing Sea of Stars?
I want to see someone play it. If that makes sense.
That does make sense, because I don't really have an interest in playing it, and I've interviewed the main developer Thierry Boulanger twice, and consider him, I guess, like a casual friend, via the internet. Really love his work. Sea of Stars was never my kind of game, but it's one of those things where seeing it go on to PlayStation Plus, seeing it hit Game Pass is an immediate win, because that developer is served. It's going to sell well on Switch. It's getting incredible reviews, and it's one of those things that I just want to watch. Almost similar to Starfield, though I'll be playing Starfield, is that it's fun to watch the ride. And in the case of Sea of Stars, seeing the hard work of a smaller team pay off feels good, right? It feels good. I talked to a lot of smaller devs on XEP, and when they find success, that I find that uplifting. So I'm excited for that team.
I agree. And I've made a point recently of when I like either a smaller developer's game or even a bigger developer game that isn't getting what I would say like fair reviews. I like to tweet at them and just give them a little something, be like, hey, I appreciate what you've done here. Like, this game is fantastic in my opinion. Like, just so someone out there can see some positivity in all the negativity that we have on social media. But guys, I am 8.5 hours into Sea of Stars.
Nice.
And yeah, you're telling me, well, listen, Xbox Play Anywhere with my ROG Ally, and then my Xbox, like, I'm going back and forth playing at work on lunch breaks. Like, this has been a very, like, it's great. This, I would have to say, is my current game of the year, though. Like, I know that is high praise, but I absolutely love this game. I am addicted to it. Like, I'm thinking about it. I woke up at like 5 a.m. this morning, and like my alarm is 6:15. I'm like, I want to go play Sea of Stars right now, like before my workout. Like, I want to get some time in with the game. It's absolutely gorgeous. The pixel art style is phenomenal. The colors are so vibrant, but then you have this fantastic world that they craft where people say the first hour is a little slow. It's setting up the world of Sea of Stars, where you have these two children born into some sort of a ritual based on the moon and the sun, and they're like supposed to be the guardians and saviors of the world. It's very, very JRPG tropey. All right, I get that, but for people that like that kind of stuff, it pulls you in. At least it did for me. And then the combat, I know this is very Chrono Trigger. It's an homage to some to say, but the combat feels a lot like Super Mario RPG. If you ever played that game, where you have hit the A button to do additional damage when you attack, or hit the A button to guard when an enemy attacks you. It's all about timing, and it's really, really interactive in a way that turn-based games often aren't, which I think adds so much to this game. So I'm 8.5 hours, like I said. I think I'm a little over halfway done with the game. I know some people are saying 25 to 30. I play games typically very fast compared to most people. So I think I can have this done before, or at least roll credits on it before Starfield comes out. But man, I am absolutely blown away, and I cannot believe what Sabotage has done here.
That's cool. I got a couple questions for you, though. I want to know, is there voice acting in this?
There is not voice acting in this.
Okay.
It is all text based.
Okay. The other thing that always rubs me the wrong way when it comes to RPGs or turn-based RPGs are random encounters. How do they handle those?
There are not random encounters. Every enemy you see on the screen, and you can run past them or you can surprise attack them. Most feel like the world isn't overly populated with enemies, right? Like, sometimes you'll have a screen where it's like, oh, I have to navigate, figure out how to like get up to a certain place to get to the next side of the screen, or figure out a puzzle. And then there'll be an enemy waiting in a certain spot for you. It's really not like, no random encounters. It's not overly populated. You're not constantly in combat. Like, 8.5 hours in, I'm level 9. So it is very like, it's paced very well for the combat, I would say.
Okay. And then how is combat when you're having to deal with, because the thing that always turns me off about these RPGs is I will get to a point where I have to waste like an entire round of combat just healing up my characters or reviving them. And it's always one of those things where it kills me, because it's like, that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to attack every round and feel like I can manage with maybe 1 or 2 heals here and there.
So I'm actually not healing that much. The boss battle I just did before we started recording is the first time I've had to use like healing items in the game. Other than that, it's been the occasional, you have these combo moves where your two characters can do either like big damage together, or there's one where there's a healing move that heals everyone. So you only have to do one of your members' turns and you can heal every single person. But if someone dies, what I like about in this game is they'll get stars over their head, usually 2. And all you have to do is survive for 2 more turns, and then they'll revive themselves automatically with half health.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Because honestly, like Super Mario RPG is probably it was the first like turn-based RPG that I had ever played. It was also the last one that I beat. And I adore that game for its charm and its comedy, but also because of how generous it is when it comes to the actual balance. So if Sea of Stars is balanced well enough that you can actually kind of play through it naturally without having to worry about these kind of fatigued rounds where all you're doing is trying to keep people alive and you're eventually just going to lose that battle, then I'm more interested in jumping into this. The fact that it's on Game Pass makes it an easy win for me. And I'm really surprised that they even still ended up selling, I think it was 100,000 copies.
Yeah.
Just off of like Steam and just regularly. Like they didn't in this, because this is on Game Pass, but it's also on PS Plus as well too. So there really is not a whole lot of incentive for folks to really spend anything on this beyond the subscriptions that they're currently doing. So to hear that it's fantastic, to know that it's reviewed well, and to know that it's on the streaming services for the 2 major platforms, it really just feels like it comes down to interest and time at that point.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it's selling well. I think this is playing out my ROG Ally. I'm like, this would be a perfect Switch game if people don't have like if they didn't have a PC or Xbox or PlayStation, Switch would be a perfect place for this game. It would fit right in there. So I'm loving it. Oh, he's pulling out the Switch. Everyone,
He's there.
I want to know, is it on Switch?
It is on Switch.
Yeah,
it's on everything. Yeah.
Yes.
This may be a game that I do on Switch then, because that may be something like I can sit down next to the missus on the couch and just kind of like pick away a little bit.
That's what I was doing. She was watching Vampire Diaries, and I was like playing Sea of Stars. It's a good time. Everyone's winning.
You guys weren't role playing as vampires while you guys were watching it?
No, that show is weird.
Okay, well, maybe talk with her about that and see if that's something she's interested in.
Yeah.
Well, before this gets awkward, I have one question for you, Kev.
Sure.
You and Project XTalk are my go-to for knowledge on JRPGs, turn-based strategy games, things like that, because they are not my jam. And I appreciate your opinion. So, as someone who is not interested in strategy games, turn-based style RPGs like this, is this accessible enough with some of the quality of life improvements that a non-fan might be able to jump in?
As I was saying, like for the combat, they do add that interactivity with the hitting A to deal more damage. And there's certain moves, like you have one move where you throw a boomerang made of moon energy, and you can reflect it back and forth over and over again. And there's an achievement for doing it 25 times. So you're actively engaged in the combat. Like I gotta time this right to reflect it back. On top of that, there's a thing called relics. And if you guys probably haven't, but for anyone out there that's played Final Fantasy 16, these are kind of like the rings on Final Fantasy 16, where it's like in that game, it was auto dodging, auto blocking. This one is a little more like automatically heals all your party members after a battle, automatically blocks for you. Like there are those things that will make it a little easier. And if you're not into these type of games, more accessible for you to play it.
That definitely removes some of the pain points that I feel when playing these type of games. Because I mean, like I mean, I would say like maybe like Pokemon's. I don't know if you'd consider that like a traditional JRPG.
Oh, that's the most traditional, probably, if I'm being
Oh,
honest.
okay. All right. So I do play Pokemon games from time to time, and these ones usually kind of fend me off, but it's usually the paper rock scissors of Pokemon that I usually enjoy the most. So I'm kind of wondering, like, with this title, like in Luke's comment about you know, this being something that's accessible, I kind of wonder, like, is it difficult to figure out where you're supposed to go? Is it easy enough for you to kind of understand the systems? Like, how deep does a rabbit hole go in this case, or is it surface level enough that if you're not born and bred into this, because I know this is kind of a love letter to JRPGs, will you still feel comfortable?
Yeah, this game is super linear.
Okay.
There's a little exploration you can do, like, oh, I see a treasure chest over there, like I'm gonna climb this little cliff and go get it.
Mm.
The puzzles are pretty straightforward. They kind of, if you just progress in the layout of the map, you're gonna figure out the puzzle. Like, it's impossible not to. Oftentimes it amounts to collect 3 things and then you'll open the door. But I have not been lost. I don't know if you can get lost, because they basically put you on like this little, you're either going down the map or side to side. Like, it is very much we have a limited amount of space. You're going to the next objective. Here we go.
Cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So fantastic. Anyone check that out if you're on Xbox, PS Plus. It's on Game Pass as well. Switch, like I said, you can buy it. I think it's $35, so not a full price title.
That's not bad, especially for the timeline you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's all I got. That's all I've been playing this week. So why don't we jump into a little bit of news? There isn't much. So guys, I got a question that's been asked before, but does Xbox need a handheld? And I bring this up because the Lenovo Legion Go was leaked. This is another competitor in the handheld gaming PC market. While not officially announced at the time of this recording, the Lenovo Legion Go handheld has leaked, including a full-blown commercial. You can get a full spec breakdown over at windowsreport.com or wait for the official announcement, which is supposed to be Friday. The highlights, it'll reportedly cost $800, not $8,000 as I wrote here. That'd be ridiculous. $800. Have an 8.8-inch QHD screen, 144 hertz VRR, a bigger battery. The Legion Go will also feature Joy-Con-like controllers called Legion True Strike controllers that can come off the side. First of all, I'm gonna throw it to you, Logan, first. Any interest in this device? And what do we think Xbox needing a handheld? And I bring that up because people are like, well, how does this relate to Xbox? If you watch the leaked commercial, they are all over this. They are promoting Xbox games. They're promoting Game Pass. It is rumored to come with 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, just like the ROG Ally did. So seems to me Xbox is very much in support of, we're going to give but we're gonna support other people's handhelds and not make our own.
Yeah, when this leaked, I was really surprised. I was really excited about this until it got to that price point, when I found out like it was $800, because $800 is a big chunk of change for a handheld. I think you can pick up the top end Steam Deck for less than that, and that's a compelling, that's a compelling argument given how much is available through Steam. This is something that I think is a good entry into the market. I really, really want to see what people think about those kind of little detachable controllers, because they have one that it actually says that it's kind of like an FPS thing. Like, you can kind of use it like a mouse. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it doesn't really click, and I kind of want to see it in action to see how that works. But I love that there's more entries into this space, because it's a market that I think the Switch created and did really well with the Switch. Not to say that there haven't been things like this in the past, but Switch has shown that this is a proven market, that this is a good place to be in. I think Xbox should consider it, especially given how we've seen the PS Portal kind of show. Like, that's just a purely streaming service. And I understand, like, I was talking about this with Luke and Joe today about my pitch for what the PS Portal is, and I think the reason why I think the PS Portal is the reason why they did it is because they're not trying to bifurcate their hardware line right now. They have a PS5 with a disc and they have a PS5 without a disc. There's one spec of hardware that you have to design for and develop for, and they make it very simple. So adding a native running handheld to this would make that more difficult on the devs that are developing for the PS5. And unless this was like the level of a, like if you were to take the guts of a PS4 or a PS4 Pro and shove them into a PlayStation handheld, I think that would be the case where you could make an argument that that would probably be a better product. And I wonder if Xbox could take the Series S and somehow squeeze that into a handheld. If you could make a portable version of the S that doesn't have like the flip up screen from UpSpec, I think is who they are.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would love that. I think a lot of people are running around with ROG Allies and Logitech G Clouds and Steam Decks and stuff right now and loving it. And I think that they want that higher end quality of a handheld, and to do something like that, like, I mean, Phil's running around with one right now. Why not just make a first party version? Why does it need to be something that is relegated to third party?
Well, my retort to that would be, why waste the money on R&D making another product that might not sell, because the consoles are selling okay, right? Like they're not blowing anything out of the water. They're not keeping up with PlayStation. So why make another piece of hardware that your player base would have to go out and get, and probably wouldn't bring? How many new people would be brought in with an Xbox handheld is my question.
I don't think anyone would need to be brought in by it. I think this is 100% a supplementary product to an Xbox Series X, because you want, they're selling the Series S as an entry level, but an additional system for a household. Like you don't need two Series X consoles like I do. You need like one for like the main TV, and then like a Series S for the other TV or like the kids' rooms and stuff like that. This is for the person that's on the go on a regular basis and doesn't want to have to commit to having their phone as their go-to for that stream play, or have a laptop for that. This is for the person that wants the comfort of what a custom handheld would do for that. Not to mention, you've also got access to using some of the systems and having that integration that you can with Xbox on a direct, like from the actual manufacturers themselves. You have a proprietary name that reinsures customers that this is a quality product. Whereas if you were to say like, hey, Lenovo's making their own handheld that's going to be for Xbox, do you want it? You're going to be asking questions like, okay, well, who's Lenovo? Why should I trust them over ROG Ally? And what's a ROG? And why should I trust that?
That's fair. Luke, where you fall on this?
I tend to fall more into your camp, Kevin. The lack of need for them to spend R&D to focus on building resources to create a dedicated handheld. My argument is, or at least I can take it in a slightly different route. I don't think Xbox has earned the right to put into another market, because they've yet to conquer or truly make the dent they need to in this generation. I'm a little baffled that they haven't, if I'm being honest, because they've done right by customers so much next to Nintendo and Sony, who seem to be doing less and less for their customers. The asterisk caveat and obvious elephant in the room is that your first party AAA titles in regular cadence is the system seller. That's what truly does it. But I don't think Xbox has nailed hardware and software in combination next to each other in several generations. And until they do that, there is no need for them to enter a market that is being served by third parties. And to your point earlier, the Xbox marketing is in those places. Phil Spencer is out there discussing one of his devices. Why put the money to R&D when you could just, as a software company that Microsoft truly is, build bridges into their hardware for your software. And that's the direction they're going anyway. They're taking themselves further and further away from hardware as a whole. If I remember right, and someone feel free to fact check me, this is going off the top of my head. Right now, the Series X is trending above the Xbox 360, but lower than the Xbox One.
Yes.
Which sounds very strange to say.
Agreed.
But it has to do more with like the amount of market that and customers you're reaching as gaming grows. But we haven't seen regular cadence of AAA titles. Once Starfield and Avowed and Hellblade, Towerborn really get on a roll, maybe demand would pick up for an Xbox handheld. But I don't think so when cloud and third parties are serving that market.
Yeah, we're pretty much on the same page, and one of the reasons I'm kind of like go with the Lenovo handheld, go with the Ally, go with all these other, I don't know if the Anano, whatever those, they have there's a bunch of weird PC handle, but Steam Deck I think would be a great partner if Microsoft could somehow get Game Pass natively on Steam Deck. I don't know if Valve would be down with that, but support those initiatives, because one of the areas Microsoft has said that they want to grow and they've been seeing a lot of success with is PC Game Pass. And this is another avenue to grow the PC Game Pass market where, hey, I can't build a $2,000 PC, but I can buy an $800 PC handheld.
Yeah, I could see that. And you guys honestly bring up real strong points about like the handhelds and going with third party. It's much easier to make license deals for that kind of stuff and you know, try and give support for native downloads through like Game Pass and stuff like that. I just it's there's something about having something being first party when it comes to hardware that is trusted. And maybe that's just, you know, years of indoctrination through Apple. That's could be very, very much the reason why I feel that way. I know that there's going to be people who are diehard PlayStation fans who pick up the PS Portal when it's not a need. So it's you know, maybe that's kind of what it boils down to, because they are getting that.
I was gonna say, Logan, how about, okay, hear me out. Okay. Kev's not here, just you and me. All right, we're R&D thinking. Okay, just you and me.
Yeah.
What if we, stupid Xbox gamers, what if we just give them a Wi-Fi device that connects to their system and doesn't do anything else and charge them money for it?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I mean,
we'll put Xbox on the handle.
Yeah. No, I'm here with you. We could tell you what, better yet, what if we make it like Cortana Blue?
Dude, this is good.
I think this is
between you and me. I think we got something.
All right.
Yeah.
What if it's a Surface? What if it's a Surface tablet? Sorry, I'm talking to no one right now. What if it's a Surface tablet stuck between an Xbox controller?
I mean, that's
Logan, get a pen,
bucks, right?
Get a pen.
This is money.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I don't think
so stupid.
I think they can't. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I do get it. I see why they do that, because I'm sold on a Logitech G Cloud. But the reason why I'm sold on a Logitech G Cloud is because I can have access to PS Play. I can have access to Xbox Game Pass. I can still have access to, you know, like NVIDIA GeForce Now. There's a large plethora of stuff that I can get to. The thing that I don't understand with Sony is that they're being restrictive to exactly what their hardware is. And I can understand that. The biggest issue with the PS Portal is not necessarily that it's Wi-Fi, not necessarily that it's locked to one ecosystem, but the fact that there's no Bluetooth, and the existing headset that you have will not work, even though it's first party for that device. Those are the big things that I think are hurting other PlayStation fans that don't need to.
And they made the Vita, which was amazing.
Right, but that's another ecosystem, right? Like that's another hardware that people have to develop for. Think of all the Armored Core games that people have never played because they were on handheld PS game systems.
All right, please don't go making sense when I'm trying to be dramatic.
Oh, shoot. I am sorry. This is not fueling the console wars. My apologies. I will
Vita just says JRPGs, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a JRPG machine. guys, let's shift focus here to Japan because Xbox has hired. I'm gonna butcher this. Minasato Kato as director for partnerships in Japan. The new role is, quote, responsible for leading partnerships worldwide for Japanese publishers at Xbox. Her previous experience includes 8+ years at PlayStation Japan. And we have a write-in from Terabo in the Discord. You can write in either on Twitter, X, if you want to call it that, or in the Discord. He asks, Xbox has pushed into Japan, but is it too little too late?
No. Now is the perfect time to be doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure why he thinks that this is too late. And it could be. I'm just hypothesizing because they had such a strong presence during the 360 era. Why wasn't this done back then? Why hasn't this been done sooner? But like, there's never a bad time to start fixing your problems.
And you have to consider also the direction that Microsoft is taking their company is cloud, and they're building currently because of the acquisitions of ZeniMax, of Activision Blizzard, of Obsidian, and Exile, and so many others. The idea is to build a catalog that you can offer very quickly from just logging in. And what part of the world has the best infrastructure to do that? And Asia, specifically Japan,
China.
is built for that. Same with South Korea. So any inroads they get to an Asian market is a benefit, is a boon. There is a reason that we've seen Atlas be courted so heavily by Microsoft. There's a reason that Phil Spencer was getting frustrated at how many times he had to get on a plane before he finally won over the leaders at Square Enix. Because they want to be in that market. They will never win that market. It was predetermined that they would not, based on some poor outings with the original Xbox there. But they truly can make headway there. So losing the console war does not mean being unprofitable, does not mean you're not servicing gamers, and it doesn't mean you don't have a market that is interested in consumerism with you. So whether they win or not isn't the question. Can they make a profit over there in a worthwhile endeavor? The answer is yes.
How are we feeling, Logan?
I think now's a great time. It's been proven that Xbox is committed to Japanese market as a growth area. They've been trying it since the Xbox One. It's been growing ever since the Xbox Series. They've got all they had Yakuza to start, then they got Final Fantasy. They've been moving to Persona. Like, they're working their way through all of the Japanese developed, fan bases to make sure that content's available. Hiring someone who used to work for Sony, first off, big cojones there to do that. Makes me wonder how much she was offered or why she ended up leaving after 8 years of working with Sony on that. But that's a huge get. Like, that is like, you're courting the person for a while, and then you finally like seal the deal. You finally get that yes. Like, now's a great opportunity for them to really push hard to get into some more Japanese based developers, get some expansion to the first party lineup. This is fantastic. This is growth. This is showing positive return on investment, and the console sales are showing that as well too. I may not be the head market for that, but it's good to see that those relationships are being built and yielding fruit too. I think there's nothing negative about this, and their timing is right on schedule. I think they've shown since the last generation that this is a drive for them, and they're moving forward with it.
Yeah, no. So I think the too little too late question, obviously, absolutely not. This is something that could have been done sooner, but the fact that it's being done now is great. But this doesn't mean they haven't been making inroads. As you said, like, we know the Series S has been selling better. They've already outsold the Xbox One in its entire life cycle in Japan. They did that like a year ago. So they're already well ahead of last generation over there. And on top of the fact that over the last 5 years, we've been seeing more partnerships with Sega, Atlas, like Persona, Yakuza, like you guys were saying. These games are coming. Square Enix was putting games on there. Like I played the Diafield Chronicle last year. I got the 100% for it on my Xbox. I don't know why certain things started skipping the platform. I don't know why Square said 2023, we're not giving Xbox anything. Seems Phil and them were like, hey, we got to remedy this. And they've gone and we have a commitment now. We'll wait to see what actually comes of it. But Xbox is being proactive, trying their best to make headway in this space, and I think for the most part it's paying off. I don't think we're ever going to see them like Xbox is the main platform for Japanese role-playing games or Japanese action games like the Bayonetta set. Like we're never going to see that. It's just not. I don't think it's a realistic thing for them to strive for, because you have people like Nintendo and PlayStation, Japanese focused companies, and there is that bias over there, right? Like there is a whole history of, well, Xbox One didn't have anything. We've seen the games that do come to this platform not really succeed sales wise, commercially, critically. But doesn't mean they're not doing much better than they used to be.
Yeah, I think there's areas for growth, but I do genuinely think like this is the most I think Xbox has been supported through Japanese developers, and we still don't know what's going on with Hideo Kojima. Like there is still a cloud-based game that they are working on together with the inroads that are being laid with Final Fantasy 14 for 2024. There's no reason why the next Final Fantasy would be a PS exclusive if those relationships can be formed now with the new CEO, addition to the new executive from Sony that can help with that situation. Like now's a perfect time to be getting into Xbox if you're a fan of Japanese games, because it's only going to get better from here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's shift focus from Japanese games because I know they're not your guys' forte. Focus Entertainment had a showcase today, and we can go over this pretty quickly. They showed off some more gameplay from Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, and Space Marine 2. Luke, either of these piquing your interest?
Space Marine 2, 100%. That looks like my kind of game. In for that one. I don't know anything about Banishers. I've either been missed the marketing on it, other than like the initial, like, oh, I remember knowing that was cool. So I couldn't tell you a thing about Banishers, even if it is up my alley. I just don't know. But Space Marine 2, heck yes, I'm in. Space Marine 1 was dope, had a really cool pistol. And I'm in for Space Marine 2. Yes.
Jam Pack Sam has been trying to sell me on Space Marine for a while now. I know he played it recently. He described it to me as Gears of War-ish, and Space Marine 2 looks very Gears of War-ish. And I was like, damn, is this another game I got to add to the playlist? Especially because they said 3-player co-op, and that's a great way to get me interested in these style games, is to tell me I can play with my friends. I'm really considering Space Marine, but Banishers Ghost of New Eden, I'm day one on. I've been excited since it was revealed. This is a don't nod RPG, has a choice and choices to make. You play as 2 different characters. If you've played the game Vampire, it kind of gives me those type of RPG vibes.
I could see that.
Don't Nod is not my style of game, but I really applaud the work that studio does. They do a lot about giving voices to marginalized communities, and I really love Don't Nod's work. But it's kind of like Sea of Stars, and that I enjoy observing it, watching it, seeing it happen, but it's not one that I actively partake in because it's not my kind of game.
Yeah.
So if it's in that vein, probably not for me, but I love seeing it go on.
Logan, how are we feeling?
Dude, this was a good showcase. Like Focus really showed some good content. The Banishers game looks really cool. I love that you can swap between the spirit wife and the husband, and kind of like go between the two. Like when you're attacking as the husband, if you have low health on the wife, it can refill her health, and vice versa. It's like you kind of trade off on the cooldowns between the two. The whole like kind of Wiccan kind of I don't even know to describe the type of like culture that's behind it, but it's super cool. Reminds me of like The Witch with 2 V's, or like Blair Witch kind of stuff. You know, a lot of there's a whole zone in one of the World of Warcraft expansions that was like based around this, but very kind of colonial times thing. And this just looks really atmospheric. The combat looks frenetic and it looks great. So looking forward to checking that out for sure. Space Marines 2, dude, I can't wait for this game. I love the first Space Marines. It's such a good gory game it's literally like just one of those games that you're just running around and smashing stuff. So if you loved like chainsawing grubs through with a lancer, like
yes,
you're going to love Space Marine. Like you can go back and play the original Space Marine on like Steam and stuff, and go around and just hack and slash with the chainsaw sword that they give you in that one. And the pistol is like wielding a Magnum from Halo. It's like it's powerful. It's got some kick to it. So it's just one of those ones where you're slow, but you're a tank, and you're just gonna like stomp around the environment. You got a little jetpack, so you can kind of jump up to some things and stuff. But the goal of you is to move through enemies until you get to your end goal. And that's honestly, that's some of the best like action style gameplay that I just love from like the early 2000s and stuff that was so prominent like during the 360 and PlayStation 2 and 3 era.
Oh, so Sega published the first one.
Mm-hmm. It's a good game. It's not the longest. It's a pretty bare bones story, but the gunplay's fun. And the combat's fun.
It is $60 still, at least the anniversary edition. So I might wish list that for a sale.
Look online for Steam codes if you can, because I think when they had it cheap for a very, very long time. And then when they announced Space Marines 2, they hiked the price back up to 60. But if you look for like CD keys and stuff, you can usually find it for like $5-10.
Oh, that'd be worth it. That'd be something. Oh, I'll check that out. That might be a good December game to knock out real quick before because this one's not coming out this year, right?
I don't think so.
Supposed to. Okay.
I don't think it's this year.
Yeah.
All right. It'll give me time then to play the first one. But little bit of sad news for our final news story here, and then we'll get into listener questions. Mimimi Games shuts down. So this is the team behind Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, Desperados 3, and their most recent title, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. They've announced they're shutting down after 15 years of making games. Shadow Gambit just came out a few weeks ago to great reviews, sitting at an 85 on OpenCritic, but one would have to assume the game is not a financial success to see the studio shut their doors so soon after release. This is sad for me. I saw Shadow Gambit come out. I saw the reviews, and I was like, I never heard of this game. I hadn't seen a single thing about it. I learned it was like a tactical style game, and I was pretty interested to pick it up at some point. Logan, you're the pirate guy. This is a pirate themed game, right?
Yeah, dude. This game, I think Luke and I think Luke, you shouted this out when you saw it to me.
Yes, and interviewed the lead. Yep.
Yeah. So I love and I hate this game because I love pirates and the themes that they have in this, and the character creation and the world environment that they've done is so awesome. Like it's so up my alley. But it's a real-time tactics game, man. And I don't do XCOM. I can't do XCOM. It's just, I don't know, like Super Mario. What's the one Super Mario?
Rabbids, the Rabbids one.
Yeah, the Rabbids. Yeah, what's the Rabbids one called?
Oh, Sparks of Hope was the one that just came. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope was the one that just came out.
Yeah. So like I've played that, but I got 3/4 of the way through that, and honestly, Mario is like my go-to for genres that I don't get into. I could only get through like 3/4 of that, man, before I was just like, I just don't like this combat style. It's too slow. So I was really hoping for when I saw this that it was going to be like kind of more of like an action game. And the fact that it was a tactics game just kind of broke my heart, because I was like, I just don't think I'm going to enjoy it. But I still think this game is worth it. It's such a shame that the studio is not going to be able to continue on.
Yeah, and they put out a post, they were like, they basically said we're tired. Like it's kind of broken. It seemed like it broke them mentally to go through these development cycles. And Luke, you interviewed them. Did you have any sense of this coming before, like in your discussions online, offline?
No. I talked to a gentleman's name was Moritz Wagner. Awesome dude. It was several months ago at this point when the game kind of first hit its marketing beats and people were really excited about it. They were upbeat. They seemed, or more it seemed, I would say at the time, like they had a lot of optimism. And so it's a real shame because Mamimi does good work. Their track record is solid, but it's a full testament that if you don't get the financial support from consumers, the projects just can't go on. Because if they are, to your point, and I saw briefly an article on this one, if they're worn down, run down, and can't keep the lights on without burning the candle at both ends, that's not a healthy environment to be. The good news is a silver lining around this, I suppose I should say, is that they're all very talented with a good track record of high quality products. So here's hoping they're able to land on their feet and find a place. These are the kind of studios that I'd love to see Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo pick up. You know what I mean? If you want to flesh out your catalog, this is a great pick. It doesn't need to be the budget of the next id product, but it's a team that's proven that could make niche interest stuff. It looks like it was on the level of Towerborn, and maybe that's what Microsoft was doing there. I'm bummed because that was a fun interview. The game looks good. It seems to review well. And the art style, to Logan's point, was just gorgeous. The greens and the purples, man, it's good.
Yeah, this is one where I had interest hearing about the type of game it was. I saw the review scores, and this was I was like, I'm gonna wish list this and wait for a sale. And now this is one I kind of feel like I want to pick up at some point, just to give them any sort of money as they close down and start paying people out. But Desperados 3, I just looked up, also reviewed at an 85 on OpenCritic. That is crazy that 2 out of, I don't know what the other one got, but 2 out of 3 I listed from the studio, 85 rated games, and they're shutting down. So like critical success doesn't equal commercial success. It's a rough lesson for them, unfortunately.
That's exactly why I'm so happy to see the Sea of Stars team take the PlayStation Plus deal, take the Game Pass deal, because that means they're going to be okay to make their next project, and then to see 100,000 copies is awesome. It makes you wish that Shadow Gambit had a similar, backing and landing. Yeah. Logan, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah. No, you nailed exactly what I was hoping to get to. Is that I wish that they had a bag of money drop on their front doorstep from Game Pass, because this would have been a great game for Game Pass. It would have been a good get for fans that wanted to check it out and stuff. It needed the exposure that I think that a Sea of Stars could have gotten, because I honestly think the quality is on par.
They both reviewed very well. I mean, Sea of Stars is 89. This is 85. Like, there's not that big of a difference critically in terms of that. Yeah, and one's a JRPG turn-based tactic. Like, it makes you wonder why some really blow up and others aren't as lucky to get that.
Bro, as a content creator who puts out interviews, and there's sometimes people read them or watch them, sometimes they don't. Yeah. That's just the way it goes.
That is the way it goes. Well, hoping everyone there lands on their feet. I'm sure they will find some jobs in some other successful studios with this kind of track record. But guys, let's jump into listener questions to round out the show. Our first 2 questions come from Alpaca Tom. He says, "How do you feel about Microsoft removing the $1 trial right as Starfield is set to release? Is it better to get them in the ecosystem with a good impression on what to look forward to?" And then second question, should Microsoft add the new console skins to design labs?
You want to go first, Logan? You want this one? Or you want me to take this one?
No, go for it.
So the $1 thing is just funny. But I think it's a good thing they took it away. Nobody should be mad or upset about this. I appreciate the question of, is it better to get them into the ecosystem? But the answer with a game like Starfield is no. This is not one that you're trying to rush into a confined space of time. That's not the legacy that Starfield, or a game like Starfield based on Elder Scrolls, is trying to build, right? It makes perfect sense why Microsoft would take it away, right? It makes me chuckle. I'm bummed if anybody was gonna bank on this as their way to play Starfield. But as Logan and I have kind of touched on, and he helps me with the wording on this because I don't mean to say it rudely, but like, gaming is a privilege and does cost money. And you have to pay that money to have that experience. And so that stinks, but also no. And I don't think I don't think Starfield was ever built to cram into a trial period. I don't think that's the legacy of this game. In truth, while everybody's going to rush to play it, you're probably better off waiting a month to play Starfield and letting them work out some kinks as it rolls out to services. But who knows? Logan, what were you going to say on that one?
I just think that this is one of those things where they know what their value is. Them removing the $1 trial right before Starfield, that could have been like Starfield was supposed to come out like November 11th, 2022. Like who knows how that stuff all kind of lines up. Honestly, though, the thing that I think this will help out with is that if people are going to buy a month of Game Pass so they can quote unquote play Starfield so they can review bomb it on a website, this is just going to ensure that Microsoft gets a full 15 out of it as opposed to the one. Do I think that the one prevents them from getting into the ecosystem early, you know, like cheaper? Yeah, but I mean, it's not something where I really question the value of Game Pass. I think the value of Game Pass is well worth the cost that it is right now compared to other services. So for me, it is weird. It could be completely coincidence. But I don't think I would want people playing at $1 to go into Starfield so they can have a poor opinion about it and not really have to pay anything for it.
So I think this is weird that people are getting upset that this got taken away because it was already taken away previously before they announced Xbox Game Pass Core and changed that conversion 3 to 2. Then they brought it back and now they're just taking it away again. So like maybe is everyone going to celebrate when this comes back in like 4 months and like, oh, we have the $1 thing and then it gets taken away again? Like, this might be something Xbox runs every so often to try to get some people in, but like Phil said, this was, Starfield signals the new era, right? Like where we're going to have those big first party releases hitting every quarter. And Logan said it. They know their worth now, all right? They know that Game Pass is going to be worth it when these titles start dropping. So I don't really have an issue with the $1 getting in. I know there are some people out there that live by this. They'll make brand new Xbox accounts and constantly just sign up with this $1 thing. I think that is a ludicrous way to live your life. Check what you're doing. Like how many emails, the amount of time, just pay the $16. But I don't really have an issue. And to answer your second question, should Xbox add the new console skins to Design Labs? Yes, because then we'll get better designs that aren't disgusting camo designs. Who out there is picking camo? What is wrong with you people?
I don't get it either.
Are these not already is the camo not in there already?
No, that's for the skins, the wraps. I assume he's like there's 2 camo than the Starfield ones. I'm saying if they put them into Design Labs, people will have more options and they won't have to pick the gross camo. Because why? Why would I want that?
Are you saying like they should do Design Lab for the wraps?
Yes, let people make their own. Yeah, like choose the color of like the sides or whatever, for the wraps.
Gotcha. So, I was under the impression it was something else. Sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
Well, it's such a good idea that I doubt manufacturing is quite caught up with just yet. But there was a company called Antiplate, which one of our listeners, DJ Hero, runs, and he actually sent me an XEP Series X cover, which was pretty neat. I don't think we're far off from that possibility if the wraps take off, but I'm against that idea. I do not want Design Labs for the wraps.
Okay.
My argument being that the wrap should be special and reserved for essentially taking the place of a special edition, limited edition console, right? You get the wrap for Starfield, you get it for Hellblade, you get it for not Towerborn, but you might get a Sea of Thieves Season 11, or you know what I'm saying? Like you tailor it towards your big guns or limited edition consoles, and make it like that versus a fully customizable thing where suddenly it doesn't feel quite as special. But that's shooting from the hip. Maybe I change my mind in 2 weeks, but right now, the wrap to me feels like it's pretty darn cool. I think I want it to be something that they curate for now.
I just wish they were a little cheaper. Personally, I think $50 is a bit much for me to ship out on a
I do too.
On a coat for my Series X. Yeah, I kind of do.
See, I don't think that. That when I look at the plates for PlayStation.
Oh, I think those are ridiculous too.
Yeah, those are like way overpriced.
$65, especially if I know. Listen, my brother's gonna hate me when he hears this because he's so hyped for Spider-Man 2. He's like trying to get the plates, trying to get the controller, but that one plate is like just black. Like really, like it's barely. You can just spray paint your current one.
Fair,
man. I honestly like. I'm still very questionable about these wraps, dude, because I was playing last night, and I just like after a long game session, I went over and I kind of wanted to feel like, you know, what is the actual case heat like?
You saw the smoke coming out,
and I mean that's the thing is like the back of the Xbox is where all that intake is coming, and most of the exhaust is coming out of the top. But the back panel where the wrap would actually cover, it still gets kind of warm there, and I don't know, man. Something about putting like with the plates, it's one thing because those are actually like removing old plates and putting new plates on. The heat is still going to transfer through those. So, you know, if that thing gets too hot, good luck on whatever, you know, pattern is on the edge, the outside of those, and hope it doesn't warp. But with the wraps, dude, I just don't feel comfortable. I like putting insulators on the outside of this thing and not having any issues with it. So I just have concerns over that altogether. Do I think they're a smart choice compared to releasing like full on Xbox limited edition consoles?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I 100% think it is. But I still to this day love the design work that went into my Xbox One X. That was the Cyberpunk edition. Like I still think that thing is probably one of the coolest collector's editions that I've ever seen. And I'm gonna miss that when we don't get something cool like that for the next big game.
I just want a Hellblade 2 one, and I want them to be cheaper. I also just want a white one. I just want all consoles to be white, if I'm being honest, guys.
A white console.
Oh, yeah, you guys heard it from him first.
Yeah, that's January 6th. Not touching that. Not touching that one.
Oh, I appreciate a good limited edition though. Like I have the back there. I have two Xbox One X's. One's a Scorpio. One's the Gears 5. Gears 5 is amazing. That's such a good looking console. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I appreciate what Logan is saying. I just, you know, maybe it's just a money thing, but right now I'm cool with the wrap.
No, yeah, I don't want to have to spend $500 on another limited edition console like anytime soon. Like I'm 100% fine with the wraps being like a way to celebrate like those. But I personally, I kind of like the controllers, like where you're getting, I don't even know where it is. It's over there. Where you're getting like the dynamic screens with like the controllers and stuff, and you plug it in, you get the dynamic screen for your background on the Xbox, and then that's like the custom thing that you get with it. I don't know. I kind of like that more than I do with like, because I think the controller team is freaking killing it, man. Like it started off strong back in the Xbox One era, and they've just like moved forward with this. The Starfield one is beautiful, feels great. So I kind of like those.
Logan, I mean no offense by this, but the people that are always on social media like, look at the new Xbox controller. I cannot understand the hype for a controller. I am sorry. The Starfield one looks great, but people hyping up like we got the Arctic blue. Like who cares?
All right, that one's okay. I'm not gonna mess with the base color ones or the camo ones and stuff like that. But there was like a PDP one that just came out that's like it's all clear and it's Sonic the Hedgehog themed, and inside the little inside the little controller handle they have a little figure of Sonic in there. And it's like it looks like it was resin cast, but it's all clear and stuff. And I'm like, bro, they're stepping up their console, their controller game on this. Like, man, it's not just Xbox. Like, they're going hard on this, and I'm here for it. So, I don't know. I think the controllers, I'm gonna wear through them, and then I'm gonna retire them to the case, and then I'll move on to the next one. But I don't know. I kind of like those better than just like a little wrap, you know, for the same price. Why?
All right.
Sorry, Luke.
No, I I appreciate the logic, and I some of the I agree with Kevin. I think more, but some of these are special. Like I'm kind of in between the two of you. Some of these controllers are special. My Elite Halo Elite 2, I love that controller. I love this Starfield layout, even though like I haven't played Starfield yet. I don't know if it's good, but like the controller is peak perfect, beautiful. I use an Elite 2 Core right now, just to save wear and tear. But one thing is clear: I have too many controllers, and I need to start giving a few away because of collector syndrome. So
that's fair. I
mean,
I've got a
DM
lot of controllers.
you my address. Just ship some. I have one controller for every console except the Switch because they come with the Joy-Cons.
Really?
Yeah.
If I legit might have an extra controller if you do need one.
I don't need one. All right, guys. Last questions, then we'll get you on out of here. It's Kyle writes in over on Discord. He says, "Do you think Starfield is as important for Xbox as people are making it out to be, rather than big AAA exclusives? Do you have any smaller games like Sea of Stars that you think Xbox should target for Game Pass?" And then his second question: with Sony now raising the prices across the board of PS Plus by $20 to $40, do we expect a further price increase from Xbox?
You go first this time.
I don't think that we're going to see a price increase for Xbox at all. I think they're still trying to grow that. The inclusion of first party titles and the comments made at Gamescom reinforce that they are looking to still kind of grow that even further on than what they currently are. So I don't think we're going to see a price hike for Game Pass. So don't worry about that. As far as games that I think Xbox should go for that are smaller titles compared to the AAA stuff.
Was the question more like studios or games?
It says smaller games like Sea of Stars. Do you think? I mean, if you want to go small studios, I don't see a problem with that.
Gosh, that's a tough one because I don't follow indies nearly as much. So that's one that I would probably defer to Luke and his kind of more vast knowledge of studios. Yeah.
It would have been cool to see Shredder's Revenge land on Game Pass. That would have been a good pick, given that they have DLC coming out. Because I don't think it hit Game Pass.
It is on Game Pass. Yeah, it launched on Game Pass.
Shredder's Revenge is on Game Pass?
I played it through Game Pass. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Good. Well, yeah, look at egg on my face. I interviewed a cool indie not too long ago that made a game called Marble It Up. That'd be a really cool game to check out. Also, and I'm going off of ones that I'm aware of. Double Dragon, if you like Shredder's Revenge, Double Dragon Rise of the Dragons was a really good beat 'em up. That'd be a nice fit for Game Pass. And then we mentioned Shadow Gambit. I think those kind of are good to touch base on. But similarly, because of what's coming out, even my touches on indies, if I've not interviewed or discussed with them, it's been reduced of late because the focus has been on Avium, then Starfield, then the next big, the next big. So I definitely get it. I will point everybody and anybody to check out Digital Eclipse's work. I think that's an important studio to pay attention to, especially for a history of game preservation. They did Cowabunga Collection, Atari 50, just put out an interactive documentary called The Making of Karateka, which I don't know what Karateka is. And even Jam Pack Sam and I were talking like, that doesn't sell anybody. But then you look at the work Digital Eclipse is doing, you hear their story, and you're like, oh, yes. So those would have been good picks if that was something that could be done. But I just want to see them get influxes of cash so that they can keep doing their work.
Yeah. So to answer the questions, I don't think a further Xbox increase is coming right now or for the foreseeable future. But there are some indie games that I think Xbox can target. And I'm surprised the first one I'm going to mention, it's coming out on Friday on Xbox, I believe. So, and I'm surprised this isn't coming to Game Pass. And that's Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This is the
that's cool.
Spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio, which obviously has a history on Xbox. So would have been cool to see Xbox kind of give them some money and grab that into Game Pass. So That one surprised me. It's not in there. I think Thirsty Suitors is one that's I think it's only PC, but it looks really interesting. It's a story-driven turn-based battle about like you're fighting your exes or something. I think that could be a good like one of indie pickup for Game Pass. The big one for next year that I would love to see is the Plucky Squire. This is one of my most anticipating. I think this game looks so creative and beautiful. Devolver Digital, like hit them up, get that into Game Pass. That would be a huge get.
Yeah, I think Plucky Squire and Replaced are like my two biggest indies for 2024 so far.
I think Replaced is coming to Game Pass, right?
I think Replaced I'm pretty sure is. I think they just had to delay it to 2024, but yeah, I'm glad that they're doing that. But yeah, Plucky Squire is going to be a fantastic game. I think I don't know, man. I feel like I've been amiss. You know what I need? I need another Nindy showcase. How about that? Get me a Liza P is one that's come into Game Pass that I think was a smart choice for Xbox to drive up and drop a bunch of money at their feet, because I think that'll be a really good game. If people aren't getting into Cyberpunk, they can get into Liza P, and that'll be a fantastic FromSoft style game for them.
Good call.
Can't do it. Too hard. Looks awesome. Can't do it with those games. That's all we got for this episode, gentlemen. I want to thank you both for hanging out with me for a little extra long episode here on Project XTalk. But Luke, where can people find you? Your wonderful content, my friend. Let them know.
Absolutely. You can find me on the socials at Insipid Ghost. But sincerely, and I'll speak very briefly for Logan, I think we would love to have everybody that enjoys XTalk join us also on XEP, because I think there's a lot of crossover in our two communities. I love seeing you and Sam in our Discord. And I love watching XTalk. So I think there's a lot of good, healthy crossover. And we're very much of the minds that rising tides lift all boats. So if you enjoy XTalk and you enjoyed us, we encourage you to check out the Xbox Expansion Pass, which is available on all your podcast services, because I think they're really good kind of companion shows for sure.
I would second that. I know members of the XEP Discord have been nothing but supportive to XTalk and our show, and I made some friends, and they're playing games with some people now over there. So it's a great time. So definitely go check out XEP, the Discord, the show. Logan, you're on XEP, but you also got your own thing going on. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So if the Shadow Gambit discussion interested you at all with the whole piracy thing, like I've been playing Skull and Bones over the last weekend during the beta, so I've been talking about that. But I do a podcast called Keelhauled Podcast. It's a Sea of Thieves podcast. I've been making a Sea of Thieves driven podcast since its launch back in 2018. And they've got some Monkey Island content that's coming out this week that I'm looking forward to. So if you guys like Sea of Thieves, or you had any interest in that and you wanted to keep up on the news, or just have something to listen to that's Xbox related, always go check that out. Otherwise, just come over to the XEP podcast and listen to me and Luke talk about games some more, and something supplemental to this.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you both for coming on. I do appreciate it. I am at your disposal if you ever need me for anything. You both know that. But you can find me over on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at the Muffin Mon 107I07A. Follow us at Save Game Media over there. Stay up to date with all of our latest. Until next time, we'll see you. Goodbye.